Bobby and Dennis.
Bobby and Dennis. They knew how to make monsters out of us.
Midnight Express to agree with us. We were lucky we had a lot of talented people to work with right off the bat. And they had a ton of heat. But I love that guy. And he was just a tremendous... And you know, Midnight would have been a great tag team without him. But with him as the manager and the mouthpiece, I mean, just all three of those guys together was total money.
You remember the Midnight Express with Jimmy Cornette? That is what me and my brother were trying to parlay.
Somewhere in the north that Jim turned on us and hit me with the racket. And when he did, I remember the crowd just popping, exploding, you know, like they were the baby faces and we were the heels.
You know, I didn't for a second think or believe that we were on their level. But if we were going to get to their level, that was one of the things that was going to help us get to that level, was working with them.
First of all, I want to apologize to those two gentlemen behind you for trying to imitate these guys, because there is no imitating these two right here, because you have the greatest tag team in the world.
My end all be all would have to be like the Midnight Express. And you're talking about any combination, but really the combination that I loved the most was Sweet Stan, Beautiful Bobby, Jim Cornette. That was Midnight Express. They did stuff. And that's a perfect example of what we're talking about as far as putting the team ahead of either single wrestler. Bobby, Eaton, Stan Lane, they were the well-oiled unit. They were the epitome of the tag team. And that's what we aspire to be. If we can get a tenth as good as the Midnight Express, I'll be thrilled.
The Midnight Express, Bobby and Dennis. I think that no other tag team had the chemistry they had, and it just the way they worked and how intense they were. And
with all due respect to Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, I think are, again, along with Ole and Gene, are one of the great tag teams of all time. Dennis Condrey, Bobby Eaton, and Jim Cornette, the Midnight Express, and to me, you know, they're my favorite team.
Thank you for watching the Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze YouTube channel. Super kick the like button. Let it rip in the comments. And give that subscribe button a hard punch.
Who we got, Jeremy?
Well,
number one, greatest tag team of all time. Please let us know.
The greatest tag team of all time is going to be the Midnight Express.
Yes!
We're the #1 tag team in professional wrestling, and everybody else is playing catch-up.
I think both you and I have gone on the record saying we prefer when it was Eaton and Condrey, but we're okay with Eaton and Lane. I don't care which version of the team you're going with. The Midnight Express is the greatest tag team of all time. Greatest.
We were known for going out and having great matches, regardless of who the opponents were. We could figure out some way something was going to happen. It was going to be very memorable.
We like to make the people pop. If we can, just right through the match. If we got a 30-minute match, we're going to have them screaming and standing, and that was our deal. We were selling excitement.
We threw out earlier, we wasn't poking any bear when we talked about Bobby Heenan being the greatest manager of all time, but they were managed by one of the greatest managers of all time, the Mr. Jim Cornette.
I'm going to say to you, because I never have gotten a chance to, this is my favorite guy in the business for a manager. I mean it. He looks like a guy that would manage it. I mean, would you let Fuji manage you? Actually, would you let Alabama rubber bands in his face?
I would want a manager with command of the English language.
Would you let Blassie, an 80-year-old guy in a suit dressed up like a nickel? Would you let Select? Would you let Jimmy Hart? You can't see his eyes. He looks like a barber outside of a barber shop. But you look like a manager. And I tried to work like a wrestle like a manager and manage like a wrestler. But you always had the suit and tie, and you get the glasses, and you had a tennis racket, and you never missed a word on an interview. I thumper. I could talk too fast, and I lose traction time. But this man never did. a tremendous command of the language. You knew where you were coming from at the start of an interview, towards the end. If the hardest guy to do an interview with, and you did, was David Crockett.
Oh, Jesus.
And you would get around him and shut him up. And I mean it, my friend.
Thank you very much.
I always liked your work.
Well,
I really did.
Well, I liked your work so much I stole a great deal of it.
And with that said, yeah, I don't care if you go Condrey and Eaton or if you go Bobby and Stan, but here's the thing. I will give a plug out real quick to the #1 tag team to me and Jeremy in the world right here.
As you can tell, Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express are ready to take on the world.
Then when beautiful Bobby came off that top rope, the hottest commodity in wrestling, it's revealed. The Midnight Express. I'm going to state some plain facts. First of all, if you can clip their wings, you're doing something. It should be obvious. It should be plain. I've been so crystal clear that they can't realize these men are the greatest. That's the street, and the gutter. Street, people are street. We beat the odds, we beat the system, much less the entire face of professional wrestling. Nobody, but nobody. The Midnight Express. What you beat was a hasty retreat, and in that same instant, street, people are street. We got the proof, brother. It ain't bragging, it's fact. Street, people are street. #1 tag team in professional wrestling. You done a good job. You're gonna go, and I got your route all figured out. Street, people are street. They tend to beat up on their wives and girlfriends and old ladies, and besides that, I understand that there has been some intermarriage in that family. Victims, because there's one thing that's certain above all else. The Midnight Express, the Midnight Express, and something else. While we're at it, you're more than welcome to try. Beat Midnight Express. We'll put you in the ground. If it comes to a showdown between you and me, I guarantee. Street, people in street. If you want a gang fight, you got a gang fight. There's gonna be a rumble, but it ain't gonna be in the jungle. It's gonna be in the street, people in street. The Midnight Express.
Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.